Welcome to Fantasy Football Hub. Today I'm joined by the big man Bakar to have a look at Fantasy Football Hub's best AI team for game week 1. That's right, Fantasy Football Hub's AI have their own recommendation using their own data, their own algorithm for the best possible team for the start of the FPL season. And we're going to get Bakar's initial reaction to it because I will say it is different to a lot of drafts from experts like you. Bakar, first of all, what do you think about AI in general in fantasy? Your thoughts?
I actually rate it very, very highly because there are times where you're not exactly sure which options to pick. You're torn between 3 or 4 different selections. You look at these algorithms and they tend to give you a very long-term, unbiased kind of an opinion because there are times where you sort of have these biases in your head which influence you. But
Yeah.
the good thing about the algorithms is that they don't really possess emotions, which makes them, which puts them in a better position to suggest what you should do.
Absolutely. Now, if there's anyone that can tell us right from wrong about the AI's picks, it's Bakar, a man that has finished 4th in the world before and has a couple of additional top 5k finishes. So without further ado, here it is. This is the AI's best game week 1 team. Bakar, your thoughts? Steele is the goalkeeper. What do you think?
I think Steele is a good pick. I don't have him in my draft because I'm not entirely sure whether he's going to be first choice. They've signed Verbruggen, but I mean, there's every chance that he ends up playing the Europa games for Brighton, and Steele is first choice because I mean, if I was to pick, I do think Steele will play because he was exceptional for them at the end of last season, and with their fixtures, he's a good pick. I mean, the good thing about him is that he's good with his feet. He tends to occasionally get those pass completion bonus points, which helps him accumulate bonus at a quicker rate. And we've seen that he has gotten an assist or two in that period where he was given a chance as well. So he's a good pick. And statistically, Brighton were among the top 5 teams since De Zerbi took over. With their kind of fixture schedule, he's a decent pick.
Well, speaking of Manchester City, I think this is where the AI team differentiates the most from FPL experts teams. A double up in the City defense of Stones and Ake. Can you explain that? Do you like it?
I mean, it's good. I would have thought the algorithm would have picked Ederson and one defender rather than the double up in defense. But again, I mean, I assume it takes into consideration that Stones and Ake both have a very favorable run of fixtures to begin with, and that both of them are likely to play at the start of the season initially. I do think that will be the case. One of the things with content creators, Jack, is that we sort of have this perception in our head that Pep will rotate.
Yeah.
Having said that, that necessarily wasn't the case at the beginning of last season because 7 of the 11 players in the City team 11, first 11, started the opening 4 fixtures before Champions League kicked in. And actually it would have been 8 because Ake got injured, so he wasn't selected in one of the games. So it's technically 8 out of 11. So Pep has shown that he doesn't rotate much at the start. There is the Super Cup between game week 1 and 2 to contend with, but I mean that's pretty much going to be an exhibition fixture for City. So I think Stones and Ake are excellent picks. I don't see anything wrong with them.
Yeah, you're so right. I mean, that is, as you say, one of the great things about AI is that it removes all those biases, those unconscious biases, and maybe your own thoughts as an FPL manager that aren't always right. As you say, I mean, I still think in my head Pep rotates massively. But those numbers there that you just said, those stats confirm that at the start of the season, there is less rotation. And statistically, City have been the best defense in the league for a number of years now. So why are we foregoing Stones and Ake? Why is Trent in everyone's teams at that 8 million price, but he's not in this team? Why do you think that is?
Firstly, I think it's because it doesn't like Liverpool's fixtures at the start. I think that's a big point. And secondly, I think it doesn't think that Trent will justify the 8 million price tag that he has this season.
Yeah.
Because I remember in the previous seasons, the algorithm used to love Trent. But I assume one of the reasons why it doesn't like him anymore is because City have an amazing run of fixtures to begin with, and because Liverpool have a mixed run. I wouldn't say a tough run, it's a mixed run, and it doesn't expect Trent to justify his value.
Absolutely. Now, it's actually a double up of double ups in defense. Estupiñán is in there. Now, he is a man that is in a lot of experts drafts. A quick word on him. Why is he in your team and why is he in the AI team, do you think?
He's in the top 5 defenders for expected assists and shots inside the box since De Zerbi took over. Brighton have a great run of fixtures to begin with. Estupiñán is completely nailed. We saw even when Brighton were playing week after week, midweek after midweek last season with games with a very short turnaround. Estupiñán didn't get rotated, so he's nailed for minutes. I think that's what the algorithm likes. And he has plenty of goal threat. So there's nothing wrong with the selection.
Okay, so that is it for the starting defense. Now, it's worth saying that, of course, expected minutes will continue to change, and Fantasy Football Hub's AI will keep picking up on that as preseason progresses. So as a whole, this AI team will continue to evolve and change across the season, let alone building up to game week 1. If you would like access to this team for the rest of preseason and the rest of the season, the link to sign up to the website is down below. It's currently 50% off, and also, if you don't win your mini league, you get your entire money back, a full refund. So there you go. Right, moving into the midfield now. I think this is where it gets super compelling, because the money that you aren't spending on Trent in defense can be spent here in midfield with another double up of double ups. Rashford and Bruno come in, but then also Odegaard and Saka. That is strong, isn't it?
Very strong. When you look at United's opening fixtures, Arsenal's opening fixtures, both are really good. Especially Arsenal's. I mean, Arsenal's are really, really good. I assume it likes Odegaard over Martinelli because of expected minutes. Saka's completely nailed, will be on penalties. 4 of the opening 6 fixtures are at home. Saka loves playing at home. For all the Arsenal men, he had the best XGI numbers at home last season. And I mean, when you look at Rashford, he had the best big chances XG since the restart. Bruno was top for chances created, big chances created over the season. Completely nailed on penalties. What's not to like? Very safe team.
Yeah. Exactly. When you see players like this in the team, you think, okay, the AI does have some logic. Makes complete sense to me.
Yeah.
Now, the fun one is the final pick in midfield, because obviously there are quite a few options at 6.5 million. They've gone with one. Actually, without giving it away, Bakar, who do you think AI has gone with for the 6.5 million pick?
I assume it would be Mitoma or March.
It's actually not. It's Mbermo.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, no Brighton attack.
No Brighton attack.
No
Brighton attack at all.
It rates Mboma higher than Mitoma. I'm surprised with that. But I guess the Mboma pick is more or less based on the fact that Brentford's opening fixtures are really good. 3 of the opening 4 are at home. Mboma is likely to be on penalties, which is an advantage over Mitoma or March. And I know that algorithm loves penalty takers. So I think that's what they've taken into consideration. And the fact that, when Brentford are playing without Tony, Mbomo's numbers really go up a notch. And I think all those factors put into consideration are enough to justify a selection in the pick.
Absolutely. Now moving on to the forwards. Now this is a little bit more template, I would suggest. Haaland is in there. He's the captain. Jesus is next to him. Can't really argue with that.
No chance. I mean, as solid, as safe as they get. I mean, Haaland is going to be the captain, I assume, for the AI team initially in the opening 6 weeks. Jesus, great run of fixtures, great attack, great numbers at home, easy downgrade later if needed. Very solid option, completely nailed.
So tripling up on the Arsenal attack. Any kind of part of you want to say that Watkins, that proven goal per game he seems to be hitting at the end of last season, could be in there?
I think it likes Jesus' fixtures more to begin with, because when you look at his fixtures, especially in the opening 3, Forest, Fulham, Palace, Watkins is slightly tougher. I mean, Newcastle away isn't the easiest. And even after that, slightly, I mean, I won't say difficult fixtures, but mixed fixtures. Liverpool away in game week 4, Chelsea away in game week 6. I assume that's the reason why Watkins isn't in there.
Okay. Now, moving on to the bench. Now, normally I would kind of save the bench till last and it wouldn't be that interesting. I actually think the bench here is really quite strange, if anything. Perhaps it makes a lot more sense than some of our benches and FPL experts that have been on the channel. If you've been doing the maths as we went along, you would know that there's actually a spare 0.5 here, and that has gone to Adebayo of Luton. What are your thoughts on that pick, the forward?
I am very surprised as to why that is the case. I think it's probably because it assumes that he's the only 4 or 5 million forward in the game who's going to start.
Yeah, 5 million forward. I think perhaps he's in there for, well, he's clearly in there for coverage. Predicted points actually aren't too bad. 3 and then obviously the blank and then 3 again, which is higher than a lot of other players at a similar price.
Yeah, it simply has to be for expected minutes. I don't see any other logic to the selection.
Macy is the backup keeper. A lot of us are going for Areola. I think the difference there is that Areola's minutes aren't confirmed at all.
Guaranteed.
And actually, to be fair, the AI has his expected minutes right now very, very low, whereas Macy is getting predicted points of around 3 per game. That makes sense, I guess. Obviously, you could change and go for Macy later on, but if you know that Areola is going to start later down the line, that would make the most sense. And then Bulldog and Bayer complete things. So thoughts on that bench overall?
Yeah. I think it's a solid enough bench. I mean, in my own team, I have Areola, Pollock pair.
Yeah.
So I agree with the selections, obviously. The point 0.5 on the forward is very strange, but again, the only logic I can see behind it is that it does not expect the 4.5 million forwards to feature at all, and it expects the 5 million Luton forward to play.
And there we go. So I guess the main difference between this team and the majority of teams that we're seeing in the community is the City defence and not having Trent. So by not having Trent, you're saving 3 million going for someone like Ake, and that enables you to go from someone like a Mitoma in this team to an Odegaard and also have a bit more money on the bench to kind of protect yourself in case of fixtures. Is that any of that? Would you ever consider doing that for game week 1?
I mean, there's a chance I do, actually, because there are a few things. For example, there City, if we get, let's say, if we know who their starting defender is going to be in game week 1. Let's say if Ake is playing well in preseason, if we get inklings that he's going to start. If we know that Foden, for example, is likely to start in their opening fixtures, then he becomes a very good option all of a sudden, because I mean, De Bruyne is injured. There's rumors of Mahrez leaving, so there's a good chance if Gundogan is left, there's a good chance if Foden plays as the runner, which will be very good for his underlying data. So by no means is my team locked, and I don't think by any means the AI team is locked as well, because I suspect this will change quite a lot by game week
100%. 100%. As I said, this team will continue to evolve. This is the best AI team for now with all the information that it knows. But of course, preseason's barely started. We're 3 weeks out. A lot can change in that period of time.
Does this give a team rating of 100%? I assume that will be the case.
In theory, this is a 100% team rating. Again, the difference being the lack of City coverage from those 90-95% team ratings. But yeah, up to the AI, a fun one to look at. As I keep mentioning, guys, this team will change. If you want to keep updated with it, you need to sign up to the site. It's a pretty great tool, to be fair. Just have a look, completely unbiased, gives you something to think about. And as Bakar said right there, he may well go with a City defender after looking at something like this. And who knows how the expected minutes will change. Right, link to that is down below. Bakar, thank you for your rational thoughts on an unbiased tool. And yeah, I can't wait to see how this team updates closer to the start of the season.